The mystery of Sukha Village. This is the story of a brother and sister, Ramesh and Sarukala, who lived in a village called Sukha, located 15 kilometers away from the town of Madanpur. Sukha was completely isolated from Madanpur due to a dense forest that lay between them. The forest was ancient, with towering trees over 100 years old, their thick canopies blocking even the faintest rays of sunlight. Deep within the forest, there was an old cemetery where villagers buried their dead. As mentioned earlier, this is the story of Ramesh and Sarukala, who lived alone in Sukha. The village was home to just 60 families, all of whom followed their own traditions, customs, and beliefs. The villagers lived under the strict guidance of Sukha Pradhan, the village head, whose words were considered divine and unquestionable. Ramesh and Sarukala had lost their parents at a very young age, leaving them to bear the burden of survival alone. They supported each other through every difficulty but never sought help from the villagers. However, the villagers despised them, believing they were cursed, evil spirits who had caused their parents' deaths. Sarukala, despite being one of the most beautiful women in the village, was given cruel names. With her bold, striking eyes and long, thick hair, she was admired in secret but openly shunned. The villagers called her the Witch of Sukha, and no man dared to speak to her. The day of the disappearance. One early morning, Ramesh picked up his axe, packed some food, and set off into the forest to gather firewood. Before he left, Sarukala reminded him, "Come home before sunset. I don't want to be alone for too long." Ramesh smiled and assured her he would return in time. As the day went on, he gathered logs from the forest, chopping wood tirelessly. By afternoon, he found himself near the village cemetery. A shiver ran down his spine as he realized how dark and ominous the place was, but he steadied his breath and moved forward. Through the dense foliage, he spotted a small ray of sunlight piercing through, illuminating a small patch of land. Drawn to it, he walked closer and realized it was the burial site of his parents. Overwhelmed with emotion, he knelt down, cleared away the dried leaves with his hands, and paid his respects. He remained there in silent prayer for over half an hour, lost in memories. Suddenly, a sense of urgency gripped him. Sarukala was alone at home. He hurriedly gathered his wood and rushed back toward the village. By the time he reached Sukha, night had fallen. Walking along the narrow, dusty path, he noticed only a few faintly glowing oil lamps flickering in some houses. Hunger and exhaustion made his steps slow and heavy. As he approached their home, he was relieved to finally see it. But something was odd. The house was completely dark. A frown crossed his face. Why hasn't Sarukala lit the lamps? He wondered. Maybe she was tired and fell asleep. Standing at the doorstep, he called out, "Sarukala! Sarukala! Where are you? It's too dark, I can't see anything. Light the lamp." Silence. Not a single sound. His heart pounded. She must be in a deep sleep, he thought. Trying not to wake her harshly, he carefully placed the wood outside and stepped into the house. Inside, it was pitch dark. He moved slowly, feeling his way through the familiar space. Crossing the living room, he entered the kitchen, searching for the earthen lamp. After fumbling around, he finally found it and struck two stones together to light it. A small flame flickered, casting shadows on the walls. Then, he noticed something strange. The kitchen was untouched. No food had been cooked. The pots were empty, and there was no sign of dinner being prepared. A wave of frustration rose in him. He was starving after a long day's work, and Sarukala hadn't even started cooking. Holding the lamp, he walked back to the living room and froze in his tracks. Sarukala was not there. His breath hitched. The room was eerily silent. Then he saw it. Blood. Dark, fresh blood smeared across the floor. His hands trembled. He stepped closer, his voice cracking as he whispered, "Sarukala." The silence was deafening. Then, he fell to his knees and let out a heart-wrenching cry. "Sarukala, I'm sorry. Where is Sarukala? What happened in that house? Whose blood was on the floor?" Everything will unfold in the next episode.